Wartime at Woolworths by Elaine Everest. Read by Annie Aldington. Prologue. November 1944. "You really need to be home putting your feet up," Betty Billington tutted at her friend Sarah Gilbert. "How long is it until this baby's due?" "I really can't keep up with all the baby news amongst my friends," she added, a slight twinge of sadness in her voice. She so longed to be like her younger friends, who were able to bring new lives into the world. But as quickly as those thoughts had come to mind, she pushed them away again. "I have 2 months to go, as you well know, Betty. You seem to be so forgetful these days," Sarah joshed. Another sign of my advancing years, Betty thought, before giving herself a quiet shake to remember to stop being so miserable. She had much to be grateful for. With the war now in its 5th year, she was blessed to know that her friends and family were still alive, despite Hitler's attempts to prove otherwise. "I do feel you should be at home all the same, rather than here giving me a hand. Not that I'm not grateful," she added quickly. "Betty, if I don't feel the ticket, I'll take myself off home, but believe me, it's a joy to be here helping do the staff payroll with you. Georgina's well taken care of at Gwyneth's house, and being child-free and here adding up rows of numbers is pure joy." Betty nodded, fighting back the tears threatening to fall. Gosh, what had come over her? "At least put your feet up." Betty pushed a wooden chair close to her friend, who eased her legs into a horizontal position. "Your ankles are a tad puffy. You should take more care, you know," she advised. "That's because I've been queuing for an age at the butcher's rather than carrying this lump round with me. I swear it must be a boy. He was playing football against my ribs all night long. Little Georgina was a dream to carry compared to this little wriggler." "Surely someone else could have queued for you," Betty scolded. "It was quicker to go there myself, as is so often the way. Plus, I'd heard a rumour they had some stewing steak in. I can't remember the last time I enjoyed a good stew." "And did he have any?" Betty asked, as she pulled a large leather-bound ledger from a shelf and opened it on the desk in front of Sarah. "It had all gone by the time I reached the counter, but he did have some sausages and put in an extra one for the baby, as he said," she added with a grin. "There are perks to being an expectant mother." "What has it come to that we're pleased to receive an extra sausage from the butcher?" Betty declared, as she checked she had enough brown envelopes in which to put the staff's wages. "Would you mind very much writing the names on the envelopes? The list is here," she said, pointing to the row of names neatly written in the ledger. "I just need to put through a telephone call to head office. The delivery of cups and saucers has still not arrived, and I'd hate to disappoint our customers. It's strange to think that we're so happy to see a few pieces of crockery on the counters. As for saucepans, I can't remember the last time we had a shining display of pots and pans to sell. I'm not surprised people are travelling over to New Cross in order to pick up a pan before they're sold out. Why, if I hadn't heard that little snippet of information from head office, Maureen wouldn't have been able to go there to replenish her battered pans that survived the roof of her house collapsing." Sarah giggled as she reached for Betty's fountain pen and dipped it into the pot of black ink. Then felt she should explain when Betty gave her a questioning frown. "All this talk of pots and pans reminds me when Alan proposed to me as he stood atop the pots and pans counter. It seems such an age ago now," she added wistfully. Betty smiled. "It's one of my most memorable moments of working here at Woolworths. Then Maureen burst into song, and the customers joined in," she added with glee. "Such happy times we had before this damnable war started. At least I still have the set of pans that Mr. Benfield gave us as a wedding present. It was a struggle, but I held on to them for grim life when the scouts came to the door collecting utensils to build Spitfires." "Dear Mr. Benfield," Betty smiled, reflecting on her predecessor, who had left the employ of F.W. Woolworth to join the army. "I was most upset to hear that he'd succumbed."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?